You ever wish you had an assistant that didn't just help with your project, but actually truly got it, like from the ground up? Well, today we're digging into a really deep review of Google Gemini to see if it's the all-knowing partner that creators have been dreaming of. And this quote right here from the author of the review we're looking at just hits the nail on the head. If you're a creator or a developer, you know you're not just doing one thing, right? You're juggling code, you're juggling content, strategy, the whole shebang. You don't need another search engine. You need a co-pilot. So what kind of tool can actually deal with that mess of complexity? We're not talking about something that can just answer one-off questions. We're talking about a tool that can wrap its head around an entire project at once. And that takes something pretty special. And that brings us to what the review really flags as Gemini's secret weapon. The one thing that sets it apart from the pack is its absolutely phenomenal memory. Okay, so to get this, we've got to talk about something called the context window. The simplest way to think about it is like an AI's short-term memory. The bigger that memory is, the more of your project it can hold in its mind all at the same time. And this chart, wow, it just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you've got your standard AI models, and they top out around 128,000 tokens, which, it's not bad. But then, look at Gemini Advanced. This isn't just a little step up. We are talking about a completely different league here, reaching up to 2 million tokens. So what does 2 million tokens even mean in the real world? It means Gemini can process 1.4 times million words in one shot. Just let that sink in for a second. That's like handing it a few massive novels and having it understand all of it instantly. And here's where that number becomes actual magic. You can literally upload your entire website, all the code, every single script, all the style sheets, and it doesn't just see a bunch of separate files. It actually understands how they all connect, how they work together as a whole system. That is a huge, huge leap forward. All right, so it has this insane memory, but what does that actually mean for you day to day? How does it perform as that all-in-one assistant we were talking about? Let's look at the real-world uses. So the reviewer really breaks it down into these key roles. It's your coding partner, not just finding bugs, but explaining why they're bugs. It's a master of content, doing smart translations that keep all your complicated code formatting perfectly intact, which, believe me, saves hours of work. It helps you get over writer's block by generating ideas and outlines. And maybe most important, it becomes the central hub where all these different parts of your project can live in one single ongoing conversation. But get this, it's not just about words and code. Gemini is natively multimodal, which is just a fancy way of saying it was built from the very beginning to handle all kinds of media. And through its link with Imagen 3, it becomes a pretty powerful artist too. And the process is so straightforward. You just type what you're picturing in your head right into the same chat box, and bam, in seconds, you've got totally unique, high-quality images. If you're a blogger or a content creator, this is a game changer. No more scrolling through endless stock photo sites. You can just create the perfect visual right when you need it. Okay, now, as incredible as all this sounds, the review is also super clear that we need a little reality check here. No AI is perfect, right? And to really work with Gemini, you have to understand its quirks and its limits. So you really have to weigh the pros and cons. On one hand, you have these incredible strengths. It handles text, code, and images. It's plugged into Google search, so its knowledge is always up to date. And of course, that massive memory we talked about. But on the other hand, you've got the challenges that come with all AI right now. There's the risk of hallucinations. That's when it just confidently makes stuff up. The safety filters can sometimes be a little too cautious. And of course, the quality of what you get out is always going to depend on the quality of the prompts you put in. So taking all of that into account, we get to the big question. Who is this actually for? Is this tool right for you? Well, the author really zeroes in on these 4 groups. If you're running a website, if you're a developer deep in code, if you're an analyst who has to sift through mountains of data and long reports, or, and this is a big one, if you basically live inside Google Docs and Sheets, Gemini is set up to be an absolute game changer for how you work. When you boil it all down, Gemini's real power isn't just in being a question and answer machine, it's in its ability to become something more like a co-author, an assistant that really learns and remembers the context of your project over time, which means its help just gets better and more valuable the more you use it. And that leaves us with a pretty wild final thought to chew on. We're heading into a time where our AI partners might actually have a better, more complete memory of our own work than we do. And when we get to that point, is it still just a tool, or is it becoming something else entirely? Definitely something to think about.